Over the course of this school year in English, I have learned new ways of writing and presenting and have improved on both aspects. I have also read very interesting books that have brought me more knowledge about certain things and have also helped my writing structure and vocabulary. I have chosen 3 examples of work I did that proved my development this year. My first piece is my autobiographical incident, where I wrote about the emotional memory of my grandfather passing away. Through this, my language of writing has improved mostly in the sense of imagery. My first example is this sentence in the 6th paragraph, stating, "I saw birds too, swimming through the clouds, following imaginary roads in the sky, their bodies flying like the somber creatures of sorrow that dip their wings in tears." I think this is an important example of imagery, because you can really see the birds flying in your mind, and it gives the scene a sad and somber sense of emotion. The way I have improved imagery can be seen through this piece, because as you read the piece, there are certain sentences, like the one said before, that show deeper vocabulary that I did not use in one of my earlier drafts. Furthermore, my writing process itself had improved by self-revision and peer revision. This can also be seen in the revision process I went through before handing in my final copy. Of course, there are many examples of finalizing the piece, like in the second paragraphs. You can see the changes in the paragraphing, italics, and parentheses. But the more significant changes and developments include using different transition words in addition to the sentences. One example is the sentence, "As I became older, my views changed. I realized what it really meant for someone to be dead, that they weren't there anymore. But I do sense that my grandpa is watching over us sometimes." In my final draft, this changed to, "Of course, my visions have changed over time, and as I became older I realized what it really meant for someone to be dead, that they aren't there anymore, and that they will never come back." You can see the development between the 2 drafts, and you will also notice how plain the first draft was. My second piece is the Marcello pastiche about the book Marcello in the Real World. Here we had to write an epilogue of the story. Though this also had a lot of imagery, I think this shows improvement in dialogue more than anything. There is a lot of dialogue in paragraph 3, where Marcello and Jasmine are talking about the stars. I like this scene because it reminded me of what I was told about the stars, but I added some of the characters' personality and the way they spoke. I used to not be able to write dialogue like this, especially not when writing as a character created by someone else's writing, but I think making this piece really helped me improve my dialogue writing. Aside from that, my writing process has improved by rewriting multiple drafts. You can see this clearly in the last paragraph of my piece, where I have added a few more sentences instead of the last one that make a much better ending with a lot more depth, which I like within the piece. This is my first draft, and it has this last sentence, which in my final and second draft, I replaced the last sentence with this, and I think it's much better. I had not thought of improving this sentence in the earlier version of my pastiche, and editing the story really helped improve my writing as I came up with new ideas. My last piece is my presentation on World War II, which was done not so long ago. For this, we had to research a topic about the war and present it. In my case, it was the heroes in World War II. I really liked making this topic because I found it rather enjoyable and interesting. As a presenter, I think I have become more organized while presenting with the slides and information. This is to be seen on my actual PowerPoint. As you can see, I have relevant and clear pictures relating to the topic and what I am talking about, and this is a form of improved organization. And I used to find it very difficult to set my first MLA format. how to organize that. And as this presentation indicates, I have improved a lot in that way because it all looks very neat and organized. I think I've also become a better researcher because of how my brainstorming and note taking improved. For my planning, I created 10 note cards, which all had questions, and I answered these questions while researching. Then I grouped them into sections, 4 sections, and these sections can be seen on the Word document. These sections would eventually become my note card, and all this information on this document would be my note cards. This part of brainstorming has been a big improvement because I used to have some trouble with my planning big chunks of information into smaller sections. I think I did a good job at this, as to be seen in my planning. I also knew how to eliminate non-useful and unreliable sources. 2 ways I can improve in the following years are more revising and drafting. This includes not sticking to the first and best idea that comes to mind, and clearer note cards and more memorized information, because I usually jammed a lot of information on one note card, which made it more difficult to present well. In conclusion, I have worked hard this year to improve my writing and presenting in the English language, and I hope to keep improving in the following years. Thank you.